I'd now like to introduce His Excellency Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, President of the Republic of Kazakhstan, who will be speaking on behalf of the landlocked developing countries on tape.
Dear Secretary General, Your Excellencies, distinguished participants, speaking today on behalf of the group of landlocked developing countries, I thank Secretary General Guterres, Prime Minister Trudeau, and Prime Minister Holness for convening this high-level meeting. Your initiative on financing for development has become a timely response to the early negative effects of the pandemic. We now need to build on last year's outcome to streamline all relevant international efforts and to close the solidarity gap. 1 year into the COVID-19 pandemic, we need to acknowledge that LLDCs have faced a deadly combination of declining foreign investment, trade and remittances, growing debt burdens, and severely reduced fiscal spaces. As a result, LLDCs' economies contracted an average 2.4 in 2020, pushing many people into poverty, predominantly women, children, and people from marginalized communities. The modest recovery of 4.1% expected in 2021 for LLDCs will barely offset the losses of the last year. To deal with the coronavirus-induced financing gap, the following steps are urgent. First, LLDCs supported my proposal put forward last May to relieve the debt burden on national budgets in exchange for increased investments in healthcare and regional development projects. Meanwhile, very little progress has been made on real debt relief since then. To rebuild, we must tackle the debt crisis. Second, it's critical that the World Bank's $160 billion COVID response and the IMF's $1 trillion lending capacity be focused on the hardest hit countries. We call on the international financial institutions, UN system, and other international and regional organizations to prioritize the special needs of LLDCs in their recovery efforts. Third, the United Nations Roadmap for Accelerated Implementation of the Vienna Program of Action takes on new urgency. We urge all development partners to deliver collectively across all 7 action areas of the Addis Ababa Agenda and to protect current ODA levels. Fourth, we call on the international community to support the development of strong health systems. Underpinned by universal health coverage, they must focus on equitable access, quality, and financial protection. And they must support the timely and adequate procurement of vaccines. Fifth, it's critical for LLDCs to be financially reinforced in boosting the resilient infrastructure and trade facilitation mechanisms. Sixth, LLDCs need to be supported to achieve the digital transformation to face current multifaceted challenges. Finally, we urge the private sector to partner fully in all recovery efforts. Kazakhstan, in its national capacity, donated to the Global Humanitarian Response Plan and provided humanitarian aid to several countries fighting the virus. We have launched KazAid ODA agency to contribute to international efforts aimed at helping developing countries in the region and beyond. We are also working on establishing the UN Regional Center for SDGs for Central Asia and Afghanistan in Almaty. Kazakhstan is proud to have taken these steps in solidarity with other nations and multilateral organizations. Dear colleagues, we may expect that it will take years for vaccines to reach arms and for economies to recover. However, in the long term, negative effects, unfortunately, will likely linger for decades. And if we do not recover fully, leaving no one behind, we will not be able to address such urgent issues as climate change or the next pandemic. Only collective action, scale, and ambition now can make a difference. Every effort now to protect the most vulnerable populations, countries, and economies will serve the interest of all in the future. This is the only way. This is our responsibility. Thank you.
Thank you very much to the President of Kazakhstan there, speaking on behalf of landlocked countries.